Welcome everybody. This is Simon and Josh from Time Zones and Time Meters. We're going to be doing a cool wrap up. Well, kind of a wrap up. Kind of a wrap up take two, I think is the way to put it, Simon, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly. The final verdict of 2025. Because I mean, we did at around New Year's, we did list our favorite albums of the year.
Yep.
But you don't really listen to everything in real time. So I think, and some things need to, comes out in November, December. How do they stand
Yeah.
when you got some, some contemplation time to the
Yeah, and
stuff
then you
that
got the
got
ones that
released
are on
in
the hype
January,
train.
February?
You got the ones on the hype train. You're
Yeah.
like, dude, like, and you're like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. And then like 6 months
No,
later, you're like, what
I
was
mean
that band again?
totally. Usually, when I just acquire an album or it just gets released, I'm more psyched than maybe a couple of months later. That's usually the case. But you also, of course, have the opposite effect that sometimes you just played an album to death and maybe feel like, okay, whoa, maybe it wasn't as deep or like as much to unravel as it seemed at first. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, completely. For those just tuning in, if you've never seen us before, we're a podcast that we do across YouTube. We do it every second week at the moment. Sometimes it's once a week, where we just talk about music. And our favorite music is usually progressive music inspired, but that doesn't mean it's restricted to it. And so for our 2025 list, I do have probably like two or three like in my top 10 that are kind of not really prog, but they kind of fit in there a little bit. But so hey ha, this is our lists, and
same, same.
so
I would
deal
say
with it.
like it's mostly prog, but there's some other stuff in there as well. Especially maybe some metal, some jazzier stuff, some psychedelic stuff is usually also my cup of tea.
Yeah, wheelhouse. Yeah. Yeah, well, so let's get started. So for those that are curious or interested, you could just stop now, go back to our best of 2025 episode, watch that, disagree with us all you like, and then come back and get a more mature, refined opinion of what
Yeah,
we thought the
yeah,
best of 2025 was. Or you could just listen to this one and go back if you're interested in checking it out. But it's been a fun experiment to do this. I'm really glad we're doing it as well, and I think we should definitely continue this as we move forwards too.
yeah,
Okay. So did you want to do like just a few honorable mentions, like bands that kind of didn't quite make the
yeah,
top 10? Because there
yeah.
was a fair bit of stuff.
I think I have to do that just to justify all the listening that I've done because like I ended up with a list of 70 albums in the end, and I was, like I could tell you on spot 70 was Bentos. I did not appreciate that album at all, or like that band, I guess, and so yeah, that's on that half. Like the uh, Royal Sorrow was not on there anymore. They are now on spot 68 or something. So I could actually appreciate that a little bit. You know what, my top 20 is Gazpacho, 19 is Björn Ries, Fimbul Winter. Top 18 is Gösta Berling's Saga, Forever Now. 17 is We Lost the Sea, A Single
Hmm.
Flower.
Yep.
16 is Moron Police, Pachinko, it was your number one last time. Jethro Tull, indeed, 15. 14 is Dominic Sanderson, Blazing Revolutions. 13, Candlemass Black Star. 12, Nuevo Era, 20,000 Leghe Sotto I Mare. 11, Moonlighters, This Dark Earth. And then after that, we go into top 10 territory.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I've got a look. I think for my little special mentions, I've had a good look through some other stuff as well. I'm pretty proud this time round in that my top 10 list, I kind of pretty similar to what it is today. So there's a few ones that have juggled spots, but I was pretty spot on, I think, for what I thought the standout was, especially from like an emotional point of view, or from a like how hard it hit me on the first listen and how much it sort of lingers now. But I did want to make sure that I probably spoke out a little bit about A Shout Into the Void by like the Great Wide Nothing. They're like a band from the United States. They draw heavily from like sort of classic proggish sort of sounds, but they inject like, I don't know, it's like a really sort of vibrant sort of energy and some sort of funky songwriting into the album. I thought that was quite good. It had heaps of strong melodies, and there was lots of intricate little arrangements and stuff in their stuff. So I was pretty happy with that album, and I think it's a bit better than what I thought. At the end of the
I
year.
like that one too. For some reason, it was like when I had it on 70 albums, I kind of like threw it out of. I just wanted a nice,
Yeah,
even amount of albums
list.
to listen to. I had to stop at some point,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was absolutely some cool songs on there.
Yeah, I also have Dreams of Being Dust, like The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. This one, the reason it's outside of my top 10 is just solely because it's not something that I would listen to all the time. It's something that sort of blends like a post-rock emo, like indie kind of sounds, but it's pretty emotionally raw, and it's musically it's ambitious, and I think the album is so good, but it's just not something I want to go back to all the time. I think it sort of wrestles with contemporary life and their sort of anger at the
It
world, I
was Spot
guess.
47.
Yeah, and so there you go. So you're aware of it too. But I think it's just this is another album that I just think should be spoken about, especially for some people that follow my stuff. Like this should be right up, their sort of alley. There was Catatonia's Waking State, like whatever the length of the what's the title, something of Waking State. But I thought
Nightmares
their
as a
extension of Waking
of the
State. There you
waking
go.
state. Yeah,
Yeah, so I thought it was good, and it got better with time for me. At first, I
yeah.
was a little bit unsure, but I gave that more and more time, and it's definitely there. It's definitely sort of unmistakably Catatonia. So if you're into that, maybe go check that out if you didn't. I think, but it definitely needs to be sort of put on a slow heat and just allowed to continue for a long time. So that's the sort of there too. Um, and the other one that I need to do a shout out to is Jacob O'Berger's The Passing. I thought that was a really sensational album, and it just didn't quite make it into my top 10, but I think it's great, and it's a really fantastic debut album for a young, really talented sort of artist, and he really showcases a beautiful music compositional maturity, I guess, for a debut album, and I think it's just exceptional. So I'd feel remiss if I didn't bring that up as well. For those that are interested or love his
Legit.
stuff, we have an episode with him where we talk about the Deer Hunter, if I remember correctly, too. So maybe you could check that out in the background. But they're my sort of special mentions. I just wanted to give four. I know there's a lot more that didn't make the list, but yeah, 2025. If I didn't mention those bands and those albums, I just feel like I'm doing them a dirty. You know
Sorry.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I get you. I
All right.
get you.
So shall we go with your number 10?
All right, my number 10, the one that was for a long time number one, but now then barely makes it to top 10, is actually Dream Theater's Parasomnia. Uh, like that was definitely, being all hyped about one of
Portnoy.
my absolute favorite bands, and of course the big thing that Portnoy is returning,
Yep.
and and just the sheer what do you call it,
Fanfare.
relief that it didn't suck,
Oh no.
and because there's always like this worry, like especially because I think I've been burnt a couple of times with like when I've been on a Dream Theater hype train and really looked forward to the next release, and then I did not really enjoy the next release. That
Mm,
has happened to me two times. So, just the fact that I wasn't disappointed with it just added a bunch to it. And I think now that I, can be a bit more sober about it. Okay, yeah, it is a good album. It is good, but I think it could be, you know, it's just that some stuff is more groundbreaking out there that came out,
yeah.
that has
I
more
thought I thought it was a
longevity.
solid album as well, and I
It's solid,
think
absolutely.
it's really solid. And I understand why you'd put in that your top 10. If you're a Dream Theater fan, they kind of are returning to a bit of form here, and Portnoy's
Yeah.
edition I think is pretty good. I've recently watched a few Drumeo episodes on YouTube where Portnoy, sorry, where they strip the drums of it and somebody else is playing Parasomnia, or sorry,
Oh,
Night Terror, sorry.
Oh yeah,
So
oh
they're
yeah,
playing whatever that's that and
yeah, yeah.
it's interesting because watching another drummer who's a fantastic drummer have a crack at it, the song just lacked so much. It's no offense to that drummer, he did a really good job. But when you re-listen to it, listen, whatever. Portnoy is just he is so good, and I think that really helped to elevate the album, in my opinion. Was just kind of
Yeah, I
go,
mean, my whole
oh, look
thing
at
with
that.
Portnoy is he always brings such energy
Yeah,
to the drumming, and you know, like if we're talking about like Mangini, for example, who filled that spot for 13 years or something like that, like he's like technically he's better. Like he can play faster, he can play more complex stuff, but it's just something about the maybe it is because he does ebb and flow a lot, or like drag and speed. Uh,
yeah, he manipulates
s-
the tempo. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. So basically, you know, he works with emotion. He plays with emotion, and I think that that is, you know, probably what makes his drumming so good. Yeah, I
yeah.
absolutely think he's
So
a
look, I
great
think it's a
drummer.
great album to put in your top 10, mate. And as well as that too, I'd say for those that are interested, like maybe check it out for the drumming too. I think
Yeah, yeah,
it's pretty top
yeah.
class. So my number 10 is the Overview, Stephen Wilson. This album grew on me. I remember at the beginning when I first heard it, we did an album thing of it as well. And for me, like as the year went on, it just got better and better. And I think I might have had it in the top 10. If I didn't, it was like 11th for last time. It might have even been 10. But this definitely deserves a place in the top 10 album of the year. It's inspired by the Overview effect. You know, looking at Earth, if you're an astronaut, and looking down on it and feeling like a tiny little ant, realizing like realizing their own insignificance. But look, it I think it explores some really fantastic themes. It's filled with like two really expansive tracks. Like I guess is the
Yeah.
way to look at it, and it
True
blends your
epics. Yeah.
classic like prog rock sort of ambient noise and electric stuff, and it's pretty cinematic too at times, I think. It feels like, to me, it always, even from a first listen, it just felt so big in scope. And I think as I got to listen to it more and more and more, that actually continued to grow for me. And so I don't know. I think it's an example of Stephen Wilson's ability to just like, I don't know, transform,
Yeah.
sort of the stories that he's trying to tell. And I thought it was
I'm
pretty.
chiming in totally on you here because this is
Please do. Yeah.
also this is my number nine actually, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
let's get in on it. Yeah.
No,
Um,
it kept on growing on me as well, and I think like everything that maybe in the beginning what was missing a little bit, that is, you know, there's a lot of framing into maybe two shorter songs a little bit, that I then thought like, was it like, am I not missing like two songs here, because there's so much, you know, that fills out.
Scope. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it just maybe it's necessary, you know. I'm very excited to what he comes up with next, because I mean I know he's finished recording his next album,
All right.
and he also is recording a new Storm Corrosion. So together with Mikael Åkerfeldt from Opeth, they did a project previously as well. But and his new album, I'm super psyched for both of those releases, just because I really think that I like the direction that it took here, like this classic prog, but still, you know, very very Wilson. It's very Steven
Look,
Wilson
it's
still.
very intricate, isn't it? I mean, I saw it live, and after seeing it live when he came to Australia last year, that's where I really changed. I was like, oh damn, that's so much better. Like I was familiar with it, but it just took on a new gravity for me, no pun intended. And and but it just has that sort of yeah, expansive arrangement or whatnot that I really appreciate. And I think he sort of nails the vibes. And so it's been one of those tracks, sorry, one of those, well, I guess two tracks, that you can just put on in the background and kind of just chill and and sort of have going on. It's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, and it is something with those sounds, like those keyboards, that makes it very rememberable, memorable.
yeah,
uh, so that like this album has a very unmistaking sound. Like if you hear just a snippet of this, you know which album it's from.
yeah.
Because of the sounds used, the keyboard sounds used, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's also a big effort watching him play it live too. Like it's these are long tracks to be able to just go from start to finish doing. So it was pretty awesome. So that means so that was your ninth.
Yeah,
Okay, so
was
does
your
that mean we
ninth?
go to my ninth now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
All right, so I'm going to put down Ilo's Legacy. They delivered a sort of record that is just prog metal, like, and it's good. It's really good quality. I think they've refined their sound from their previous album, which I kind of liked, and I explored after this one a fair bit more as well. And this is definitely elevation for them. It's I guess it's a really tight production. It's got some really fantastic rhythms and some pretty memorable melodies and stuff as well there through it too. I've written down that the band has a lot of technical precision, but there's still like an emotional resonance which takes place, and I kind of like that. I didn't connect with the vocalist's voice at first. I don't know why, but I found that this album has got a little bit better with each listen, even post 2025. As you know, I've put it on from a few times. I've really enjoyed it and thought to myself, actually, it is good quality, and it probably deserves to be a little bit higher in some for some reasons in this list. But the ones that beat it are just a little bit more. Maybe sort of just punch me emotionally a little bit harder. But I'll discuss those later too. I know you're familiar with the album, Simon. What do you think of
Yeah,
it?
but not overly familiar though. I mean, I gave it like a spin.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so
Yeah,
look, I think that's highly worth checking these guys out. If you like prog metal, I think this is about as stellar as it kind of gets, really. It's soft vocals as well, which, some people love. Um, yeah, and it had rated pretty high in many people's top tens, I think, who are into, this sort of modern progressive sound. What have you got at eight, my friend?
I have something that grew on me compared to last time, where it did not get into the top 20 even, but now it makes it into the top 10, and that is Joviak's Autofiction Part 1 Shards. So it's like a concept thing, like I don't know, trilogy or something. And it's their debut album. It's a Finnish band who it sounds a lot like Dream Theater, um, back in like '06, '07, like that era of Dream Theater. And but maybe even more creative, or like more, like I think it's around the time where Dream Theater started to, encounter some, like they, what do you call it, like you have this, usually you have like this peak of the creativity within a band, and then it kind of wears off a little bit, and you kind of feel that in the music sometimes. And I think that's a little bit where it started to wear off for Dream Theater. But it really has like that kind of, like if their creativity were on peak in '06, '07, that time around, then this is what it have sounded like. And I mean, these are young guys, so obviously this is probably the era of Dream Theater they grew up with. And
Hmm.
I mean, it's awesome. I love everything about it. Um, if you're a Dream Theater fan, you just have to listen to this band, Joviak, and so indeed,
So
this
this I
auto.
remember listening to as well, and I remember where I
Yeah,
was listening. I was in the gym, like I was on a treadmill or something when I first listened to them. So I can remember that enough. This is the one with bombs, right? Or isn't it like BOMB or something? Yeah, I thought that track was the
that
the
is true.
standout from that. I haven't thought about it too much to tell you the truth since I went through it, but I went through it probably like five or six, no, 7 or 8 times actually. I'm just looking at my replays now, but it was auto fiction as the way I
Yeah.
remembered it in my head, and so when you said shards, I was like, did they release a different one? And I was just looking it up, but yeah. So they look. I thought this album was really solid. If I remember, it was a little bit sort of 80s vibe at times. Is that right? Like it's got some maybe an electrical section where
Yeah, I mean
like there's electric keys and stuff. Maybe in one of the
I mean,
tracks.
it is fairly keyboard heavy,
Yeah.
sure, and so maybe that's that what gives. I don't remember thinking that.
Look, I think it's a strong album, honestly. Like I remember it enough, like, and I obviously listened to it a few times. It must have just slipped off my sort of playlist, you know, and playthroughs as well. But look, I really enjoyed it, so I think it's a good one. You said that was your what one was that? Number eight,
That's
seven,
my number eight. Yeah,
eight. Okay, right, yeah.
yeah,
So my number seven is
eight. Go
my
with your
num
eight.
my sorry.
I started right. Yeah,
So it was Prism by John Butler. So this is, I really enjoyed this album. It's definitely going to sit in my top 10 because it just was exactly what I needed to listen to when it came out. So it's got a sort of an upbeat, sort of reflective sort of quality to it. And it's look, for those that don't know who John Butler is, or the John Butler Trio, they're kind of I don't know, folksy, bluesy kind of jam session, guitars, and pretty sort of catchy poppy lyrics. So it's definitely not proggy, although he's very, very, very good at playing the guitar, and he does some really intricate stuff, which is kind of cool. But for me, I think this was just a really fantastic, very personal journey that John has sort of written. And I think it's reflected in the music. So I think it's really, really solid. And I think if you're looking for something that's not as progressive, that's maybe easy to get into, then I would highly recommend it, especially if you like acoustic guitar numbers and stuff.
yeah, cool. I have to listen to more of him. Okay, I will move on to my number seven. That one was also, I think this one might actually have stayed at the same position as when we rounded up last time.
Yeah.
Look at this one.
Ah, some Goku power, bro. Some Goku. Is that like a 12 pack that he has? I think he's got a 12 pack. Oh no, it's just eight.
More, more than me, at least, I can tell you that. Let's see here. My number seven is Lars Fredrik Fröisele, his Gamle Mester. So the keyboardist from Wobbler,
Gotcha.
his solo album. It's great. It's very like retro 70s, like you would expect from him, but it's like super keyboard heavy. And I mean, he plays most of the stuff himself on it. He has like Hammond organs and mellotrons and keyboards and synths and everything. He also sings himself. I mean, not that singing is something out of the ordinary, but I really appreciate it's actually being in Norwegian. That is, I think that adds a lot of uniqueness to it because there's not all that much prog in Norwegian. And I mean, the material is just really good. And I mean, with all these like unique keyboard sounds, it all just like with the overview, like it really adds a unique soundscape to an album, which I really enjoy. So I mean, for fans of 70s, of retro prog or whatever you want to call it, it's like a given. Super album. I think he even painted the album cover himself, so it's very much a solo project. Yeah. 2 years ago, I saw an interview with one of the guys from Wobbler, and they said like, well, next year we're going into the studio, so you would actually have expected them to come up with something in 2025, but they didn't. So I sure hope they come out with something this year. But I have not seen any updates on it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
If they do, I'm sure to listen to that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I
I've
think
just
it's a
I've
great
just looked
band.
it up just to clarify. It's October 2020 they released Dwellers of the Deep.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's been
Yeah,
6 years,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I've listened to a little bit of their stuff, and it's definitely on the edge of like my progressive sensibilities. They're quite progressive, those guys. But
Yeah, I mean it's old school prog rock.
yeah,
That's what it is. Maybe a little bit of a a clearer production than you could get in the 70s, but to be honest, if I hear that and I don't know it's Wahlberg, then I'm expecting it to be something that is recorded in the 70s because
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. I mean, and look, and many, many, many people like sing their praises. So that's why I've checked them out in the past because heaps of people love these and highly rate them. So maybe that's
yeah.
worth checking out as well if you enjoy what Simon was saying before. I can't pronounce his name properly. Did you say it was
Lars
Ulrich?
Fredrik Frösle. Yeah,
Oh.
I don't me neither. I think it's Norwegian. No, yeah,
Okay, so what are we up to? Is that my seven now?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so my seven used to be much higher in this list, and they've dropped a few. So it's still a stellar album. It's a fantastic one. It's the Cardiacs. They released a much anticipated album named LSD. This look for those that don't know the Cardiacs, they are crazy. Like they are just such a unique sounding band. Like no one ever sounds like them, right? But anyway, the album's pretty like go 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 the whole time. Constantly shifts between different, I guess, like genres and moods and like tempos, and it's a bit like in your face sometimes, and then other times they're just dilly dallying around the place. But I thought it was just a really really creative, and I don't know why, but it just gelled with me really well. I think it's kind of equal parts prog, but then it's punky, and then it's poppy, and then it's just uh, is absurd the right word? Do you think? At times, like, when they're
Yeah,
singing Lovely
perhaps.
Eyes and they're just screaming like Lovely Eyes, over and over and over. But in saying that, I don't know. I really like this album. I think it's for someone to be challenging, but I thought it was good.
For me, I mean, I like Cardiacs. I've not listened a lot to them, but I could not really get into this album. This one is like at spot 60 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't really get into it. No.
For those that I guess they anticipate something that's going to be a little bit overwhelming at first on a first listen, but it definitely reveals like just the most extraordinary, like chaotic, but I don't know. But there's some real like I don't know compositional sort of tightness to it, which I kind of like. So anyway, I think they're inventive, and you guys should check it out. And for no other reason than I think it's in a sort of groundbreaking territory, really, that I would recommend checking it out.
All right. So I have on my number six, I also have something that kind of um, sank a little bit. Uh, and that is Gento by Bioscope. So this is a project of Steve Rothery and Torsten. Yeah, I always fail his last name. From so indeed the guitarist of Marillion and keyboard man from Tangerine Dream. So it's I guess like a is it a super group? Is it a one-off project? I don't know. Apparently they were been like jamming and talking about this for years, but it didn't really take place until now.
Mm.
And they also were supposed to have performed in the Netherlands last winter, but they had to cancel that.
Okay.
I had tickets, but I got refunded. I'd rather have went. But yeah, I'm seeing Marillion this fall, so at least that's that. Anyway, so this is a very like atmospheric. It's a little bit, well, I guess it's more Tangerine Dream than it is Marillion. But on the other hand, you of course have these guitar solos, this Gilmore-esque crying of the guitar from Steve Rothery. So I mean, if you like this new Marillion stuff where they sometimes go a bit space rock territory, um,
Are you talking like
this
ambient sounds and all of that sort of stuff and dying off?
yeah,
You
exactly,
yeah.
like very jammy, like like jamming on an ambient note. Like there is drums and stuff, there's also indeed ambient sections, but there's like it's very, space rock,
Yeah, okay.
that kind of territory.
Yeah,
It's very
I have
pleasant.
not heard that one, you guys, so I can't vouch for him. He might be going
A lot of
820.
people haven't. When I played this on Spotify, and I looked at the stats, it was like I'm in the top two, top three
Yeah, okay.
with the most plays of it. So yeah, no, it's kind of a hidden gem, I would say, this one.
Yeah, cool. I've for my number six, I've got down Royal Sorrow, Inner Deeps. So I know this didn't hit for you last year. And I know we've had a few exchanges on Instagram specifically about you going, actually, I don't mind this. But for me, I
I,
still really,
yeah,
really like it. And the funny thing is I've come back to it a
it's
few
okay.
times and I still enjoy it. So it's funny that it was rated 6 in my last ranking and it's still rated 6 now. And I had a good look at it, but it's still got quite a few plays for me. And when I just want something that's, look, it's so maybe I should explain it for those that aren't listening. It's a really modern, progressive sort of metal, maybe prog light metal, in my opinion. Like, is one or two of the tracks are quite progressive, and I like them probably the most. But it's very poppy, and it's got a really contemporary production, and so it sounds like these newer kind of bands and stuff. Like, it's a little
It's like
bit.
the gent category,
Yeah, that's right.
you
And
know.
and
Yeah.
but and also it's got that like real studio kind of sound to it. That's maybe a little bit more digital. Maybe I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but to me it gives me like slightly Sleep Tokeny or Portnoy vibes, or it's just that modern sound that has the gent guitars as well. But the thing that really stands out about this band is they've got this very very poppy, very easy to listen to. Maybe a little bit sort of, I don't know if lame's the right word to put it, but it sort of hits the edge of that, sort of thing for me. They're from
It has
Finland,
catchy melodies.
super
Yeah.
catchy, and that's why I like it so much. You can listen to it once or twice and then be singing along to it, humming along to it, and I like that. And I think they balance accessibility and complexity really, really well. And so this is the kind of band that I'd like to support heaps because I feel like they're the bridge between listening to like my most loved genre of music, which is this heavier, gentler kind of soundscapes, with like it's accessible without with getting blown out. I don't think that I think it's great, and just I think it'll end up being something that I forget about and then come back to and be like, oh my God, I like this, and then laugh at myself for liking it. But I really do recommend it for those that as a good starting place for more contemporary prog metal. And
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts on it? Do you want to rip me down? I think you did last time.
No, I have nothing to add to it, I think. Yeah, no. Should I go on with my number five?
Yeah, when you can't say something nice, just move on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay, man.
it's just not my,
Yeah, it's not your cup of tea.
it, no, it's kind of the stuff I struggle with. But indeed, like if when I let my guard down a little bit, I was struggling less with it, and at times I could even enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but
What do
but
you got?
my gut reaction was not,
Not
yeah.
praising.
No. All right. So number five for me
Yeah,
is
drum roll.
actually,
It's the beginning.
yeah,
Here
yeah.
we go.
And it's not any number five because I actually put Jacob Roberts there. Like
Ah,
I've
yeah.
I've been listening to his album. I thought, wow, this is such great stuff, and like in at times it has even been higher than this because yeah, I really think it's good. I So Jacob Roberge, The Passing, it's his debut album. There's like this half-hour epic on here that he's been working on for 10 years. We talked with him about this on a special episode. And I just like how uh, it has its own touch to it with very like old school prog traits,
Yeah.
but it doesn't sound like it's made in the 70s. And maybe it's like leaning more into like how Queen could can be at their proggiest moments, like um, more than referencing a King Crimson or like those
Yeah,
typical prog bands that you reference to. Like it's obviously he's a piano guy, so it's very piano heavy. So it's like I think it's more like into those prog adjacent things, such as like Queen or Elton John or something like that. But he really goes all out prog with it. But it doesn't sound like those you know typical old school prog bands that you usually reference.
mm,
I think it's just good stuff, man. It's and he sings lovely. There's like a lot of vocal arrangements, which is, I mean, yeah, he's as much of a piano player as a singer, and of course as a songwriter. It's great songs as well.
it's
It
a great
really,
album.
yeah. So I'm very happy with especially you recommending this guy, bringing this guy up. And I think it was like because you also had him just outside of the top 10
Yeah, and look,
when we did the last time.
yeah, that's right. And
And
top
so
10 is still
then
really
I thought like,
good.
okay, I have to listen to it. It was like on my to listen to list. And then after we recorded it, I thought, okay, now I really have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very happy I did.
Yeah, it's so such a good quality album. I was just gonna say like if something didn't make the top 10, that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just
No,
these are special
no.
albums to us that were released last year. So I think that's the cool part about this, and I think he definitely deserves to as much credit as possible for what he's done. So great recommendation. I'm really
My
glad that
top
it's
25 is bloody excellent, man. Yeah, okay. If
so.
anything fits there, it's the bee's knees. Yeah.
My number five has went up. So this is I made mention of it in the last one. I think it might have been like nine. I can't remember where it was, and I didn't rewatch our episode to get it. But in saying that, this is really good, and I just still think this could end up higher again in like 4 years from now. So this is Kalen, I think Kauan, and it was called The Way Home. They're a Finnish band. They just create the most immersive and cinematic music. Like it's so good, and it's somewhere between like post rock. It's got like these kind of like really ambient like soundscapes, which I know I've used the term a few times today, but it's definitely like it's just this like, but it's also got like this darkness to it, like this doomy, melancholy, like it's a punchy ass like album. I freaking loved it, and it's patient, and it's just such a deeply emotional like album to me. And I just think it develops gradually, and instead of having like this massive impact that just slaps you in the face, like I guess Inner Deep's Royal Sorrow is such a funny contrast to have as the track before, like the album before it, because it's a little bit the opposite. To me, it's just that's just fun, and I like sort of getting into it. And I like putting it on when I want to listen to something loud. But this one here is just something that you could sit down with and find yourself sort of sobbing in the background and having a little moment. And I don't know, like it just hits me in the feels. And I think it is a brilliant compositional album, and it just feels like less like a collection of music and more like a one continuous experience from the beginning of the album to the end. And I just could not recommend this album more for people. And I think it's a look, if you like post rock, this should be on your to listen to list. And I do like some post stuff. So yeah, check it out for sure. Did you end up doing this one?
No,
Maybe.
I had to skip it in the end because there was like another one. Yeah, it's sad that you mentioned exactly the albums that I had to draw the line somewhere,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I had to listen to list that was, getting out of control. And so like I had said, okay, at 70 albums, what, I have to stop. Because otherwise everything will just have one listen, and that's it just got crazy. So I have actually not heard this. Um,
Well, man, like I'm not suggesting that you should do another 2025 album, but I probably
Like
would recommend. Look,
one
the other
year
thing too, though,
later.
you're not a huge post rock guy, are you? So, I mean, I don't know if this would be the thing you're into, but yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things that I enjoy, but it's not my main genre. And what I can maybe struggle with post rock. On the other hand, it's a little bit like maybe every genre that you're not overly familiar with will have that, but it is a little bit like I feel it's difficult to be unique in that genre because sometimes I feel a little bit like there's only so much you can do with that slow build up that like I can have a difficulty.
My favorite post rock bands kind of sit slightly outside of the standard. There's one or two that I like that I just go, yeah, they're poster boys of post rock, and they're definitely like that's what they are. And I don't think they bring anything unique. But my favorite post rock bands are ones that just push that like genre of music into something a little bit different. So your Monos and your Caspians and these guys as well, I really do think sort of sit on the sort of within that genre, but they just do something that's different and it makes it just these are emotionally really impactful bands and I think these guys just nail it. So anyway, shall we move on to your number four?
What do Kauan do different then, or do they?
We're not,
It could also just be good.
sometimes I feel like post either are these long atmospheric single note sounding like tremolo picking like expanses, and I feel like they draw that out so long sometimes that it's all the same, like each band pick the same notes or the same sort of oscillations between the
Yeah.
what they're sort of doing, whereas I believe that this Kalen have like this in my opinion, like maybe even a stronger sort of guitar presence. And those, you have these like little melodies that sort of interweave into it that I just think are just, there's just like they sit at the fore of the music a little bit more maybe. And then I don't know. I think there's also a bit of grit as well. There's a little bit of harsh vocals that get brought into this too, which I think sort of adds like a sort of personal resonance. And as you know, like I'm not a big heavy vocal guy, but I think this is where it's done like in the right way. And yeah, I think it's that melodic guitar work that really sort of carries this and takes you on a bit of an emotional roller coaster that or at least an emotional sort of journey, and that's what I think is something that really separates that band too. For those that are fans of bands like Mono, I would definitely check these guys out because I think they do something similar, but maybe aren't quite so as Mono get. Anyway,
Okay. My number four is something that I discovered through Instagram. Like it got pushed to me. There was like this hippie dude saying he came out with his new album. It was like uh, a bunch of dudes looking like hippies in the 60s, getting on a bus uh, filled with, like going to India, smoking hash, and like very 60s, you know. Um, and, fun dude, Swedish dude. So apparently there's like some kind of hippie collective there in Sweden, and it's called Nepal Death.
that's
Nepal,
what
sort of
Nepal.
the
Okay,
country.
Like Nepalese. Got
Yeah,
it.
or yeah,
All right. I was a bit
the
slow on the uptake
yeah,
there. I was
yeah,
trying to
exactly.
work it out, but okay. So it's a play off the word napalm. It's Nepal death. Got it.
I'm,
Okay,
I'm guessing at least. I'm guessing.
and it's a hippie
Because
collective.
yeah, it's yeah. So this is kind of like if you think Hawkwind, like Hawkwind, or like this psychedelic kind of Beatles stuff, like Within You, Without You, or from Revolver, or Tomorrow Never Knows, maybe like this, like very like this is psychedelic rock. It's like peak psychedelic rock. um, and it's really good. It's like very much fulfills that atmosphere. Yeah, uh, I thought it was a super fun record. Um, Nepal Death,
Yep.
Pilgrims and Psychonauts. Yeah, the
Yeah,
album
right.
is called, and this one was really fun, I thought.
So, yeah, I'm just looking them up now, and I can see what you're talking about when you said five hippie dudes, I guess. But I think one's a female. Is that right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
hippie
yeah.
dudette. Okay. So look, they look really interesting. I have not heard of them, and I'm gonna have to check them out because the Swedish psychedelic hippie rock collective is literally what they post on Facebook there. So that's really cool. Um, yeah, cool. All right, free love, dudes. Like, let's go. I'm gonna check that out for sure. I'm so interested
Yes.
now.
Yeah, so there's, all those what you can expect, sitars and, very jam band-ish. Yeah, if you like that kind of stuff.
Which you obviously do to rate it that highly, my friend.
I love that
That's
kind
cool. So that was your number four.
That was my number
Okay.
four. Yeah.
I
What's your
love
number
it.
four?
My number four is World Maker, Psychonaut. This album was new to me at the end of last year.
So very different, but still the Psychonauts.
Yeah, I know. When you said it, I
It's
thought the
common.
same thing. So this one isn't so hippie. It's not so much love and psychedelic stuff, so much as it's a blend again of, I guess, a bit of a post metal vibe. But it's proggy and it's dirty and it's atmospheric again. And I just
It's
think this
metal,
is
I
it's
think.
metal, yeah. But they have like such a gentle intro to the album that really kind of just sets the tone and then it just builds beautifully. I think this is a really, really well crafted album. It's got big riffs. It's alongside like some big soaring vocals at times. I think it's delicate, really delicate sometimes, and that's my favorite part of the album. And I think they create an album that's kind of like both just what's the word, like it's like crushing and then it's uplifting as well, and I think there's this heaviness to it which I just think is cool, and it's like emotional heaviness is what I'm talking about, although it does get heavy as well. It's a big self reflection kind of album. Yeah, that's pretty much what my notes are. I just think this is good, and I had a feeling that I thought it would be good, and then like I remember the first time I heard it, I was driving along a freeway going down a very steep sort of hill, about to go over a bridge in like torrential rain and massive storms, and it had this beautiful atmospheric beginning, and then this harrowing death growl, like wow, kind of stuff happened. And I was like, oh, like this, trying not to crash as like cars are flying past me and pieces of trucks are coming off the edge of
Oh yeah.
the
Oh
vehicles.
yeah.
It was horrendous. It was scary. But so that's what I remember. Let's get back to the topic. Where are we? Third?
All
Ooh,
right.
here we
Mm,
go.
Yeah, yeah. So here, this one is also like a very like out of the blue thing, like something I just discovered last minute before ending my Spotify subscription. Um, this is Seventh Nation. That's the band, and the album is On Shoulders of Giants. This is a band who's like it's yeah, they're a bit spread out in Europe, but it seems like they have kind of like Israeli background. So I also have to say a little bit like it seems like they're commenting a lot of on religion and these kind of topics. It's very dark. Um, anyway, I have to say like I haven't seen them comment on the whole Israel and all the the genocide and shit that they're committing at this moment. If they're raging Zionists, then I'm gonna put them out of this
Yeah, okay.
list. The album is called On Shoulders of Giants.
Right. So this was an EP released last year. I hadn't heard of it.
No, neither have I. I actually don't know exactly how I came across this, but it is very like dark King Crimson. Like it can get heavy to the point that you say this is maybe metal, but also not. It's very sinister sounding, very weird, uh, and it just it's I fucking love it. Like it's very complex, like rhythmically, and like it's yeah, it's very much like it really takes me to like those dark and weird parts of King Crimson.
Is it
I
harsh vocals
I
as well?
No, it has weird vocals. Yeah, I don't know if I have too much more to say,
That's
except
all
for
right.
like
Man,
you
I
have
love
to
it.
you have to listen to it. It's very unique, weird stuff, like pushing the envelope a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
cool. All right, I'm loving this episode, by the way, because you're surprising me, whereas I'm probably talking about everything that I'd spoken to you about before.
some, yeah.
But in saying that, still, my number three, mate, was Magic Eight Ball by Gazpacho. I think it just has a great atmosphere about it. Like I like it. I like the slow build. I just whenever someone says Gazpacho now, and even though they've got a great album in Demon, or I think it's a Demon,
You don't think about the food anymore?
no, I definitely think about this band, and that's the thing. Like it just sort of takes me away a little bit, and I think this album stands out now. So again, it's got this kind of like sad, melancholy, like carefully constructed, like maybe like tension, in what they do. But I love the sort of motifs in the album as well. I quite like Eight Ball, which I think some people don't like in the album. They feel like it's a bit out of place because it's a little bit like funfair, and sort of funny. But I really like it, and I like the way that sort of broke some of the sort of tension that was built early on in the album too. But I just love this band's ability to create a really emotional landscape, and I just think it's fantastic. And for that year, I think that's a big standout as just sort of resonating with some of those sorts of themes and songs and tunes. So I think it's cool. I quite regularly was just got many of the songs stuck in my head for long periods of time too. So yeah, it's good. I think it's wonderful. And for those that are big fans of maybe Marillion, they'd probably quite like this. I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, maybe yeah, fans of new Marillion,
Yeah,
not the Fish era Marillion, but like the later releases. Yeah, I can see that. I can see
yeah.
that. I have my favorite track is the title track.
Oh, right,
Maybe
really?
that's
Okay.
why. Yeah,
You're one of the different ones to because
yeah,
I
I
read quite
guess
a few reviews where they're just kind of like, oh, that seems a bit out of place for me. But I really enjoyed it.
because that's the one that goes ding 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 ding. Yours is oh yeah.
Sure, I'll
I,
just say yes.
I cannot really.
And you don't want to hear me sing, everyone. I have a beautiful timbre, but probably completely, yeah, can't do it.
Oh yeah.
I'll break the microphone.
That's like a piano, bing, ding, 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 right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Lead
definitely does.
melody. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I,
Um,
I hear it in my head, but I can't, I can't produce it in sound. Yeah, okay.
okay, so what's your number two?
My number two, actually, I don't have it. I don't have, I don't have that one on LP, but I do have it on. It's from this guy, whose name is Ornithology. It's actually not his real name. His real
It
name
would be a
is
bit weird to have ornithology as your name. Like,
yeah, yeah.
so
Um,
thank you for clarifying, just in case we did think it was.
I think that, like this is an Indian guy living in New York,
Ah,
and so I'm guessing that his is actually Andar Chal is his name, Andar Chal. Um, or am I saying it wrong now? At least like what it is. Um, it is this guy who plays piano.
mhm.
He's a jazz guy. This is a jazz album. Actually, so he brought this one out, but he also brought another one out that is called Andar Chal Ornithology Plus Friends, and that has a bunch of own material on it. This one is like Chet Baker covers, and uh, so obviously this one doesn't qualify. Otherwise, this one would be on there as well. But but the other one that is just called Underchild Ornithology and Friends is all material, and it's like in the, I guess, because I'm not as balls deep into jazz as am in prog or metal, so I'm having more difficulties describing what it exactly is. I think this would fall under the category of cool jazz. So like the kind of stuff that you could, easily put a old school rapper on, like it's very laid back, cool sounding. It sounds very cool, It's not like this fast bebop fusion stuff. But it's also not like traditional Louis Armstrong jazz,
Yeah,
It's
right.
it's like you know, uh, kind of if you imagine um, Chris Squire's Lucky Seven, if you know that track. If you're a prog fan, you know that track. Of old school prog, then you probably know that track. Very cool, like not afraid of some old time meter, but it's like it's very groovy. And I got blown away by it, and so I had to get something from him, and so I got this. But actually, this Underchild Ornithology and Friends is just as cool as this one. Um, very very unknown guy. So I'm happy to push him a little bit, or push for him a little bit,
Yeah,
because
okay.
yeah,
Look, I'm interested.
he's involved in several projects, but this is the project that I really enjoy.
Anyone who has ornithology written in their name makes me go, hold on, because that's bird like talk.
Bird watching, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
apparently
like
that's his hobby as well.
right. Okay, this makes a bit more sense then. So, okay, cool. Look, I'm interested, and to tell you the truth, I need to listen to more sort of jazzy kinds of things anyway. I always think that about like
You
if
don't
you
need to do anything.
have you ever been out like in your list, you I don't know, you're at a restaurant or something and they've got some stuff in the background, and like I'm always picking up music and things, and sometimes you just kind of find yourself like
Yeah.
tapping your toes and just going like, damn, I love this. Like I have no idea what I'm listening to. I don't know where I'd find it, but and that's how I find jazz and also blues a bit too as being quite a daunting proposition because I just know so little about those genres, right? And so, but to me, I love the soundscapes and
When I grew up, I heard a lot of jazz, so I was like kind of put off from it 10 years ago or something, when I was like, okay, I really want to listen to jazz, but it indeed always, like other stuff always got more interesting, like always cut in line. Like now I'm having a trouble keeping my hands off jazz, like now, but it took a long time for me to really click with jazz. But I have to say that like now all forms of jazz are clicking with me. And maybe my favorite kind of jazz is the jazz fusion. So like logically,
yeah.
that's what's closest to prog, right? It's like it kind of overlap between prog rock and jazz, other jazz forms. But I mean, yeah. So this one indeed, like cool jazz is also a very cool jazz kind of music. Yeah.
And that was his number two, everybody. That was
That
his
was my
number
number two.
two.
Yeah.
My number two was Lunatic Souls, The World Under Unsun. This is the latest sort of chapter in Marius Duda's work. For those that are familiar with Riverside, we've spoken about them obviously a fair bit in the past. And with I guess the revealing of the Riverside sort of folding, this takes on new context because Marius said that this album is sort of written and we always assumed it was about relationships and all sorts of other things, but he was definitely reflecting on his journey with this band. And so I find it even more engaging now in some ways. But this is an album that sort of broke me. I think it's a fantastic album. It's a little bit more darker, a little bit again more atmospheric. Sort of draws from some folk influences at times. It's got some really cool electronic textures, sorry. And it's definitely sort of prog rock stuff, isn't it? I think it explores themes of, that are very powerful, and they sort of resonated with me last year with the death of a loved one. And so the feeling of sort of isolation and unsure about the sort of future. I don't know. They like that was kind of the process, the cathartic process of sort of listening to something while going through just this huge mixture of emotions, and that it had happened. I remember listening to it after the wake of my of a loved one, so it was really hit me hard, and it just continues to be something that I can go back to. The album unfolds really slowly. It's a long album. I think it's I don't remember how long now, but it's quite long, and it definitely favors mood and immersion. And look, dude is unapologetically like says that he put a lot into this, and you should be able to explore vast works with the same love as what you do something that's shorter. And so, because some of the people said it was a little bit too long, but I sort of dig where he was going with this. And even if it does take a little bit to get into, I just think if you sit down with a glass of red wine or a few nips of whiskey or whatever, on a balcony overlooking the water, this is something to put on. And obviously that's something that sort of sits with me. It's richly layered. I think it's incredibly introspective, and it rewards listeners who are willing to spend that time. So anyway, it's an easy number two for me. Easy number two. It probably, this could probably end up a number one from this year for me in like 10 years time from now. Who knows? But I think it's sensational for those that are, again, love his work. Check it out. Like, just check it out. I think it's the strongest Lunatic Soul album for sure. I quite like Through Shaded Woods, but I think this one's, easily, maybe its highs are on par with Through Shaded Woods, because I think that album's highs are really good, but this is a much better, generally speaking, work than I think he's delivered before. What do you reckon? Is it like 38
Yeah,
in yours?
it's 28.
28. Oh,
But
sorry. It's better than
but
38, Josh.
yeah, but you know, uh, Marius um, does sound very sincere when he says that that is his best work. Like it seems like he really considers that being his best work.
Is
My
it time? Is it
numero
time?
uno, it is time.
Let's
Yeah.
go. What is your
Okay,
number one, my
so
friend?
the, could on the other hand, is it interchangeable with number two? No, but I did change it like last minute. It's still the same one that was
Oh, ACT.
yeah,
ACT.
yeah,
Right.
Eternal Winter. I got this. It's like the special edition thing. There's only 500 copies of it. I thought, okay, they just released it on vinyl. I thought, okay, I have to buy it. Uh,
It's very shiny.
uh, yeah, because it's still in plastic. I thought if if I ever get 1,000 viewers on Instagram, then this is gonna be my celebratory post by opening it and playing it.
What makes that
What makes
kick
it a
kick the
number?
butt of these other things?
Yeah, I mean, it is. This is also one of my, all-time favorite bands. I've
Yeah.
been listening to them for over 20 years, and I think it's like one of the better releases. Of course, this is like a part of a quadrology, so I mean, it does stand on its own, but I think it's even cooler in the bigger context of like those three company accompanied albums or EPs. Like the first one was, I don't know, 20-25 minutes. This one is like what is it, 35 minutes or something. So it's like actually a proper full length album. Um, it has two singles that are kind of immediate that you can look them up on YouTube. They have great music videos along with them. The Family and Home. Home is like one of the best tracks of last year. Um, the Family is also a great fun track and has probably the better music video. It's hilarious. Um, but but then you have like this track that takes some more time before you really, uh, before you really treasure them. Like
Mm.
when snow was magic and this special day. And I think like the lyrical content is just as much like it's about a basically a family who are, if I'm correct here, because I'm a fucking imbecile when it comes to interpreting stuff. But as I put the pieces of this puzzle together, because they're not in chronological order either, it's spread out over these four albums.
Yeah.
Everything's random.
Act.
But yeah, the storyline here is a family who and then you have the like apocalypse, and they travel out of from planet Earth, and then they come back post apocalypse.
Yeah.
And so you have all these parts of like this everyday mundane life, such as the family when it's like about his in-laws in being irritated with his parents-in-law, and then but then you also have like this uh, and also I believe it's when snow was magic. It's like reminiscing about Christmas, like before the apocalypse. But also on other albums, you have like that they have to say farewell to their friends and people like that because they
They
actually go,
left. Yeah.
they leave exactly. And the big parade is that he's being stuck in traffic, but he has to make it to this rocket ship taking off. Like I think it's like a very interesting
Is it?
storyline
I
as
mean,
well.
I just had a look. I haven't listened to this album at all, so I missed that, right? And I didn't get there. And maybe I said I was meant to, but it looks like I haven't. But oh wait, Eternal Winter, is that what it's called?
Hmm.
I
That's
actually
what it's
did
called.
get it, so I played it through once. Do you think this is like how would you define the mood of this? Is it silly or is it like up and down or it's a
At
little
at
bit explode?
times, at times it is silly. At times, like the family is silly. The big parade is absolutely silly,
Mm,
um, but with a serious, like I mean, it's a dark topic, right? But usually they are kind of light sounding, so it's
yeah,
not. Because I mean, this is anything but metal, like terrific musicianship. Like these guys are aliens, like they are Dream Theater level, and like if I have to compare it to something, it could be Dream Theater. Like it's somewhere in between Dream Theater and I don't know ELO maybe. Yeah, is it silly? It's not silly like Toe Hider, but
I mean, and
but it's
that
not dark as metal either. Like
yeah,
it's not Dream Theater serious. It's somewhere in,
no.
in between there.
And that's what I kind of ask as well because for me I couldn't because when I've listened to them in the past it's like where do they sit for me and I kind of am like are they being funny, are they not, are they, and so they sort of flirt with this for me anyway from my very limited listenings of them. They kind of hit this funny in between where I feel like they are, but they still have a humanity about what they do, and there's quite a bit of like humanity and the topics that they bring up within the scope of a false world, right? And so I think that's the way I kind of hit me. It's they definitely I should check them out, and because we're close mates, I should just do that as a if nothing else than to get a little bit more insight into something that you absolutely adore. So I think that's I'll have to prioritize starting at the beginning of this little series and going through them, yeah, as a one piece maybe. But that's really cool, man. I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I mean it's my number one, and it was my number one at the end of the year, and it's still my number one 6 months later. So obviously, I like this a lot. So and I mean it's a bit of a cult band in I don't know uh, in Swedish Prague, but it's not something that a lot of people have heard
Yeah,
this
I'd never
band.
heard of
Like
it
they
before.
definitely like during their whole career, they've gone a bit under the radar. So I think they deserve all the listens that they can have. It's
Hmm.
Yeah, for the songs and for the musicianship, and just because I think it's a very unique thing, a unique sound that they have. I can, like, I'm having a trouble comparing it to something else. Like indeed, it's not Dream Theater, it's not ELO, it's not Flower Kings. It's they very much do their own thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, check it out. If you're interested, check it out. If you're not interested, check it out, and then tell us why you're no longer
Yeah,
interested as well.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, gosh, let's give them some sort of time. Cool. Well, my last one didn't change either, my friend. So as a matter of fact, I think I might have undersold the album's
The
grandeur.
gap is bigger between
It's not so much the gaps bigger, but I just kind of this is my most one of my most played albums ever, like streamed. And so
Oh
I
yeah.
will definitely be sort of purchasing some paraphernalia for it as well, and probably getting a hard copy too. But Pachinko by the Moron Police. Like, this is a band from Norway. They're crazy. They sort of blend some pretty technical music with absurd sense of humor and some really infectious sort of melodies and stuff. But I guess they're just it's just a fun, upbeat, high energy, slightly crazy, slightly manic album. And I know that I'm a sucker for the dark melancholy. I'm a sucker for the heavy stuff. I love atmospheric bits and pieces. And so it's funny that my number one is like jovial at times. But this is just it's an album that consistently shifts through different soundscapes. It sounds like a computer game at some times. It sounds like the bloody pachinko machines, in Japan at some times as well. But then you've got these like, you know, you've got the Okinawa Sky, kind of track, which is just so memorable because it's so different. And I don't know, like I think this is just a really quality prog album, and the experimentation and the playfulness just is there. And if you can put up with it long enough, you can really start to pick it apart. And there's just so much in it. There's just so much in this album, and for me to be able to get like up around the amount of plays that I have in such a short amount of time just means that I can listen to this over and over and over and just find something new and something new and something new and something new within it. And I don't know, there's also some, a little bit like we were saying earlier, like sometimes bands can be flippant and playful, but actually have some things that they say within the context of what they're doing, which just sort of hits a bit harder because of it. And I think the title track Pachinko itself and one or two others tracks on this album, like Waiting Around for You, for example, I think just have like there's these just little raw moments in it where I just go, oh, yep, there it is. And so I resonate with some of the phrasing, some of the sentences that are sort of used in the lyrics. Um, and I just think it's a rocking good time, like at times. So I don't know. I know it's definitely not some people's thing, and I know that some people will just dislike this completely. But for me, like I am just having a look now. The least played track I have on this is Giving Up the Ghost, and I've played that 32 times. So I've at
Crazy.
least played this album 32 times, and my most played track is nearly at 100. So like we're talking like, and I'm listening to the album at least, sort of probably close to 35 times. I'd say maybe 40 times, and those other tracks I might have just sort of skipped through a little bit. But generally speaking, this is a I just have found it a really fantastic album. Um, but yeah, Pachinko, the title track, part one specifically, I just think is ridiculously good and silly and stupid. And any time where you're saying like, the rhyming pachinko with flamingo and the, you know, like all of this stuff. It just seems so lame. But those segments of the song, once they get past that little thing, just all of a sudden hit, and they just hit home so hard in the track. So I think it's cool. I rate it super, super, super highly, and think it was a standout album. Really was. So I would say this basically. Lunatic Soul, I thought might take my number one. I really did think that might happen, but Pachinko ended up having the longevity and also the incredible play count that just makes me go, yep, I can't ignore this, and it has to be a star performer. And I think it was pretty high in a lot of prog heads kind of uh, channels and listings and stuff as well. But maybe check it out.
Yeah,
Did you want to add
yeah.
anything to it? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit
No,
before.
I enjoyed that one as well. It was in my top 20. So I mean, obviously it's great stuff, and I think that it's a little bit in the same vein as this. So I guess check them both out.
Yeah, I think it was a good segue,
Is
nearly.
the
Like
message.
it's sometimes, yeah, it's sometimes you can get some emotional depth out of things that just are not intending to be there, and so I sort of love, you know what I mean? Like it's just surprising. It's like you've got something light, you've got something that's about escapism, you've got something about like, all of these different topics or whatever it is, and then they just all like, drive home a point. You just go, oh, why? I mean, it's nearly like you were disarmed because you're focusing on everything else, right? Like the Sonic the Hedgehog-esque sort of lines of music that pop up in sort of waiting around for you, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of like, bam, oh, well done. Like, I don't know. That's my experience, and so I definitely should go check it out. I've had a look at a few of the other more on police albums, and they definitely did not hit, not anywhere near as strongly as
Okay.
this one. But I haven't given them enough time, honestly, and maybe I was put off a little bit by some of the stuff that they wrote, like some of the song titles and stuff. But look, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Simon. It's been an absolute pleasure again, mate. I've loved this episode. It's been great to reflect. And
Yeah,
I'm
fun.
really looking forward
Thank
for
you.
us to, in 6 months' time from now, doing the best of 2025 part two. I'm joking. The best of 2026. But yeah, so yeah, so we'll do a wrap up at the end of this year, and I think we should definitely do this again 6 months later and just kind of reflect back on the year. It gives us enough time to sort of let it sort of percolate, if you will. But yeah,
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining us, you guys. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And please, write a few comments below. Has anything changed in the way you've seen, your sort of musical predictions for the best of last year? Is it like, has it shifted? Has it changed? Or do you think you're onto something and we're on drugs for redoing this? But I felt like it was a great idea, and I'm really happy we did. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Fun.
Well, please like, subscribe, follow, comment. You can find us both on Instagram. That's probably the easiest place to find us.
You see, we now have 100 followers on our channel.
Oh my gosh, look at us go.
We just got 100, and
Yeah,
our
and
most popular video actually just got 400 views.
wow, is that Soen? Is that Soen's?
That is still so in,
Yeah,
yeah.
discography. I know Selling England by the Pound was pretty high. It's like 200 and I don't know, whatever. But it's interesting. And also, man, your Instagram's going off a little bit this year, isn't it?
It,
My goodness, you're going to be
yeah,
at 1,000 soon. You're going to be.
it's crazy. I just apparently managed to befriend with the algorithm for a little while, so it just somewhere
It's
just
awesome.
went 500 and then quickly to 900.
Does this does this mean
Now
you're
it's
going to
like
kick me off
plateaued
the
again.
channel at 1,000? But just I'm just letting you know, if I get 1,000 more likes than you do, I
You're gonna
might have to be.
you're
No,
gonna
I'm
kick
joking.
me off.
Anyway, thank you guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed and you still continue to watch this shit, then maybe you could help us out a little bit by doing
Yeah.
so. But you don't have to. I'm not going to get upset if you don't. I probably should stop talking and just say peace out, goodbye. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that because we're taking on to 2 hours so otherwise.
All right, everyone. Peace out and goodbye. See you next
Peace
time.
out.
Bye.
Bye.